Hello everyone. Today I want to talk to you about a system or a way to communicate with your team members if they are very resistant to apply certain things or a certain system or certain communication skills that you want to apply in your practice. And there is a lot of resistance on that. And how can you tackle that in a way that hopefully will benefit you and your practice and your team as well? So let's talk about that in the video. So first, for credibility, my name is Khaled. I have been a dentist for 20 years. I run my own dental practice, Lakeside Dental Spa in Hervey Bay in Queensland, and I took it from 1 chair to 10 chairs, from 3 staff members, close to 40 staff members over the course of 14 years, and you can check my details below for credibility. So I will give you an example and real life examples that happen. Again, all my chats are very unfiltered, so I'm not really preparing anything. So I'll give you this example. That happened maybe 12 or 13 years ago, early on my ownership, maybe 2 or 3 years after owning a practice. So let's say my appointment book was just full of like really short appointments, so emergencies, new patient, broken teeth, new patient exams, like 40 minutes, like a full day of like 20 patients, and by a lot of different coaching and know where I'm heading with my vision of the practice, I decided, okay, you know what, we need to organize this appointment book differently. So we want to have some pre-blocks. We want to have 1 hour for exam in the morning, 3 hours of what we call it complex dentistry or high production or whatever you want to call it. So more like restorative dentistry, like complex stuff, and then maybe an emergency. So I want to limit my emergencies and limit my new patient exams and just focus on having a more productive book. And the benefit for me was a lot of benefits. I will get through it when I talk to you about how I dealt with stuff. Then I explain to my staff how we want to do it. You know, if we're gonna have pre-blocks in the book, you cannot violate these pre-blocks. You cannot put emergencies. You cannot put new patients, except if they are within 3 days. So if the next 3 days the pre-blocks are not full, you can open them up for any patient. But any future pre-blocks, do not touch them. And you explain to them everything. And maybe my explanation wasn't as good, so that's why it was violated. And then you realize there's a lot of resistance. So you start the system going well, then slowly they start to violate the pre-blocks. They start to add, an emergency here, and your appointment books slowly start to go back to the old ways again. Now, you can force it, of course, say if you don't do it this way, you will get a warning letter or you will get fired. Will not work usually from my experience. I have a better way of managing that. I want to explain to you what I did and how it was successful. So I conducted a meeting. If your small practice is only one offender, you can have a one-on-one meeting, of course. But let's say, for argument's sake, there are 4 staff members rotate between front office and assisting, and they are responsible for that part. So I conducted a meeting and explain the situation again. I said, look, I want to get to the bottom of that. So please be honest with me. I want you to be as honest as possible with me. Why you find it hard to do that? First, I want to understand what they are going through and why they violate the system, what goes in their mind. Then from there, I can give them an answer that hopefully they will see it in a different way. So they basically told me, well, we just find it really hard when patients are calling and they're having either a toothache or a broken tooth, or patients are checking out from the exam, they want to start the fillings, and they have to wait for 4 weeks to see you because you have all those pre-blocks. I feel like it's just you're being money hungry and you're trying to be productive and make more money on the expense of keeping patients waiting from seeing you for emergencies or to have their work done. It's like, okay, I really appreciate your honesty. That's how we can actually talk about it. I really appreciate that. So number 1, now I understand where they're coming from. So number 2, I need to make sure they get a broader vision of why we're doing this system. So I will go back to them. Okay, let's follow what you're doing. Okay, let's imagine we do that. So we get every patient, we validate the pre-blocks, and then we have an appointment book every 40 minutes. And let's imagine now you're in the front, so you have to check out 15 patients a day and bill patients and book patients 15 times instead of 3 or 4 times. And there's a chance some of the patients might be running late because there's a lot of emergencies, of course. So those patients we're running late on, they might not be happy. Then they might give you some hard time in the front office of why the dentist is running late. They might give us 1-star Google reviews if we are running late on them. Then our city nurses have to run really and do sterilization for 15 changeovers. Our DAs have to do 15 changeovers. I have to see 15 patients in a day. I'm eventually get very tired and very burnt out. And also our production might start to drop a little bit. We might not hit to where we want to be hit. Then we might not be able to afford to grow. We might not be able to afford to pay our expenses. That means we have to run on our costs. We might have to terminate a staff member just to save our wages a little bit. That means we're going to even be running late more. Then eventually we might shut down the business if we can afford to run the business. And then all those patients we're trying to serve and get to the practice will be one practice less in the area, and they will probably have more longer waiting list. So by applying what I'm trying to apply with you guys, it's not just about making more money and being more productive. It's simply we want to have happier patients we can give them more attention, more details for our treatment, more not exhausted. I don't want my DAs to be running around changing over 15 times in a day. I don't want you to be checking out. Wouldn't it be nice for you to check out 4 or 5 happy patients a day, or 15 patients a day and 5 of them might not be very unhappy? And also, would you rather get some 5-star reviews or 1-star reviews as well? So if we are more productive, of course, by default, that means we're doing better dentistry, more quality dentistry, and we can grow. Your wages, of course, is secured. Your employment is secure. We can grow and get more stuff to help you around. We can just be in a spot where we can run our practice in a much efficient way. So if the patient is not in pain, it's okay to wait 3 or 4 weeks. It's a broken tooth, it can wait. If the patient is in pain and we always have emergency pre-blocks, and if we fill them up, maybe they will ring another practice and we might have to lose this patient. It's okay, but they will find another practice. So I hope by me explaining this to you in this way, you'll get my full picture. Now from there, I guarantee you, if you explain it in that tone, you're not really forcing it on them, you're not demanding, you're not saying if you do this way, you really understood where they're coming from, and you give them a different alternative. You made them see, if we don't do it, how it can affect their job, it can affect how they are dealing with patients, it increase their stress level, and patients are going to be unhappy at the end if we close the practice because we cannot afford to run it. And how if we do it with my way, it's a win-win-win situation. Now, if you do it properly and you do it all of that and you're still having resistance, and there is still one staff member that's not really liking the system, and you still believe you're greedy and money hungry, I think they are not a good fit for your team. Nothing wrong against them. They're just not a good fit for your team. They don't trust your abilities to run a practice. They still question your ethics and your integrity when it comes to finance and production over care and quality, and you will never change that around. And this person might not be a good fit for your team. Your team has to believe in you. They have to believe in your integrity. They have to see you as someone with integrity, as someone who's ethical, of course, if you are ethical, which I hope you're ethical. And they need to be on the same page as you. If they are doubting any of that, they should not be in your team. They should be in someone else's team. It's good for you and for them and for the other person's team. So if you find this information helpful, make sure you like it and share it with your friends and colleagues. If you want to hear more about my videos, please subscribe to my channel, and I will notify you when more videos are released. Thank you so much for listening to me. It means a lot to me.